What's up, guys? Wanted to do a video today about a subject that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but it's about breaking bad habits and why it's so much easier to break bad grappling habits than it is bad striking habits. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody talk about this, to be honest, but I was thinking about this, and I had, some students. I coach a lot full time now, and I have a lot of students, and I talk to them about stuff like this, and they ask a lot of really good questions and stuff like that. And I was telling them basically that it's so much harder to break striking habits than it is grappling habits. And the reason is very simple. The reason is the amount of reps you get. If I tell you, for example, we're doing a 3-minute round, I want you to throw as many jabs as you can throw. Well, you could probably throw at least 100, if not more jabs. Even with good technique, you could do 100 jabs in one round. But what if I told you to shoot as many double legs as you could in a round? Well, you're definitely not getting 100 unless you're some like high level wrestler. And I'm not talking to some high level wrestler or some high level striker. I'm talking to young fighters that are trying to come up and be good fighters, whether it's pro, amateur, whatever, UFC, whatever their goal is, right? It's very unlikely that someone's getting 300 or getting 100 reps in a 3-minute round of a double leg. But they can get that with the jab easy. You could probably do 100 leg kicks in a 3-minute round. So you get so many more reps striking than you do grappling that if you have these bad habits, it's an issue. Example would be, imagine this. This is kind of what happened to me because I had a coach. To this day, my original boxing coach, I don't really feel bad talking about the situation because we had a major falling out. But to this day, he probably showed the best offensive setups of any boxing coach I've worked with. But he was the worst coach I've ever had in my life for defense. He taught no defense at all, which makes sense because, that was his style. He was just come forward swing guy. And that's the way he fought, just pressure forward and swing. And if he got hit, he got hit. So he taught no defense, which obviously that later on hurt me in my career, right? But imagine doing this. Imagine throwing a jab, and every time you throw a jab, you drop your right hand. So I had a coach tell me one time, hold the phone. So now I use that terminology, hold the phone. But imagine you throwing a jab, and every time you threw a jab, you didn't hold the phone and you dropped your hand, right? Well, I developed that habit so bad, I still haven't broke it, because I did thousands of reps the wrong way. And I've fixed it way more than it was a few years ago, obviously. But that's such a bad habit. Prime example, when I fought Dan Hooker, if you go back and watch that fight, I got knocked out in the first round. It was very depressing, my home state. I go to throw a left hook. He goes to throw a left hook, and I didn't hold the phone. Nor did I move my head off center line, and he did. So these are habits that are so hard to break because an average person coming up in a striker, they may do 10 rounds a day on the bag. They may do rounds, pads, sparring, and bag work, all three in one day. But let's say they practice an hour and a half of striking. They may do, 5 rounds on the pads, 5 rounds sparring, 5 rounds on the bag. That's 15 rounds. But imagine these bad habits of you throwing a punch and not holding the phone, you not moving your head off center line, you pulling your chin back in the air. Imagine doing that for so long. And here's the issue: is it doesn't have to be that long. I would go as far as to say, if you did that for about 3 years the wrong way, it's going to take you 5 to fix it. And it's going to take you 5 to fix it with serious repetitions of the same specific drills that can fix it. And that's kind of what I battled, coming up in my career, because I only ever really got beat for defensive issues. It's just so much harder to fix a bad striking technique than a grappling technique. And it doesn't matter if it's a leg kick or anything. If you're doing the striking technique wrong, you're going to it's going to take you twice as long to fix it as it would a grappling technique, because you don't get the same number of reps. So that's why in grappling it's easier to break bad habits. And then also I don't know. It's hard for me to really judge grappling because I never had bad grappling coaches. I've had a few really bad or boxing coaches that I thought taught no defense over the years, and it took me a while to realize that and figure it out, right? But I pretty much only had really good grappling coaches, so I can't really say if you have super bad technique that it might take. You can fix it drastically faster, but I know you can fix it faster because you can't do as many double legs in one round as you can a jab, or you can't do as many body lock takedowns in one round as you could throw a right hand. It's still, you need to be careful. You need to make sure your technique is on point, guys. When you're training, you need to make sure you're with a coach that corrects technique, especially if it's striking, You need to make sure that they're correcting your technique. They're teaching you real defense. You're not developing these bad habits, because I would say the first 3 years are crucial. The first 3 years of your career, especially the first 2. If you do stuff wrong for the first 2 or 3 years, it's going to take you 5 or 6 years to fix it. I mean, possibly even double the time it took you to develop it. So be careful, guys. If you're looking for a gym, if you're new to martial arts and you're looking for a gym, you can get my book. Link is in the description below. The Ultimate Guide to Choosing Your Martial Arts School and Instructor. And just a good guide. It's $4.99 on Amazon. It's not expensive. It's just a good guide to stuff to look for at a gym, and just make sure you don't end up at a McDojo, because there's a lot of McDojos out there, and not even just people think when you say McDojo, you're talking about karate gyms, but really it's I think a lot of jiu-jitsu gyms are McDojo gyms. I've said this in previous videos. Is if we're talking about a fighter, I'm trying to talk to the young fighters that are coming up. If we're talking about you guys that have dreams of competing, you want to make sure you're at a gym where they correct technique. That is of the highest importance across the board in fighting. Yes, you're going to need to be in shape. You're going to need to spar. You're going to need good training partners. You're going to need all this, but none of that matters if the technique is not right. So something to think about, guys. Let me know in the comments any subjects you'd like me to talk about. Have a good day.